Wants to know, will U.S. markets correct or hold? Jorg, in particular, Bill writes in asking how much will the Standard & Poor's 500 correct? Estimates by some floor traders say 5, 10, 15% or more. Some saying we could retest lows back seen in March. Dr. Zoyner, you know my friend Nouriel Roubini quite well, right? He seems to insist we could get back to 500 S&P reading.
I think I mentioned that our view of the world economy is such that the recovery is about to start setting in the fourth quarter of this year, and against this backdrop we expect the S&P 500 to correct upward. I think 10% might be a good number. So we believe that the S&P 500 will close definitely higher than where we are today.
And there are no swing factors, there are no triggers, there are no external factors that may torpedo that assumption.
There is currently a period of uncertainty, and the market is correcting somewhat. We were expecting that. The run from the March lows was very long and very extensive. But I think we'll pick it up again, this upward movement, against the backdrop of much better data coming, first of all, from the U.S. manufacturing sector, and then consequently from the GDP numbers coming out of the United States and Asia.
A related question from Jean in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Jorg, who writes in, look, during the summertime, well, actually, we're what, halfway through the summer, aren't we? Not as many retail investors, hedge funds are somewhat in hibernation, perhaps. Could this possibly lead to a situation where there's less participation, and may that maybe prolong where we are right now and maybe not lead us to the conclusion you just detailed for us?
It may be that during the summer months the volatility, as we already see, is somewhat higher than it was because it is the summer. But we anticipate it to pick up again and to get some movement into the market and a clear direction into the market in a few weeks' time.
Okay. Jean also has an accompanying question to go with that, Jorg. With increased savings rate moving toward 10% in the United States, does this help the situation? Does this help American solvency? If not, then what rate of savings does he need? Jean apparently is quite busy today with us. Thank you, Jean.
The increase in the U.S. savings rate helps rebuild the balance sheets of the private households, and that will add to the sustainability of the U.S. economy over the longer term. In that sense, yes. What we need, though, is also the consumers to regain confidence and start spending again. So it has to the savings rate has to stabilize at a reasonable level.
Okay, let's finally, in the last couple of minutes here, Jorg, let's get into your prescriptions here. VP Bank's views, your views. Gradually reduce cash and government bond holdings. Take credit risk instead as a bond investor, including high yield, sub-investment grade, okay? Increase stock holdings to consistency with your risk attitude. Convertible, CBs, may be an option. There's quite a lot of varied things in the mix there. What really is the standout?
We do our recommendations in a portfolio context. So in a mixed portfolio is a well-diversified portfolio that includes most of those investments. That's why we recommend to move on various fronts. Cash and bonds was a good investment during the peak of the crisis, but that is, in our view, behind us, and therefore VP Bank is now recommending to slowly move step by step into riskier assets. For a bond investor, that means corporate or lower grade government bonds, and for a stock investor, that means building up to the levels that he feels appropriate according to his risk attitude.
If you take on if you adopt a higher risk profile in the credit markets, has the default risk come down dramatically? You obviously feel much more comfortable at VP Bank about this asset class.
It's not so much about the default rate. We also expect the default rate to be high and, in fact, to increase. But the spreads are such that the compensation is there for those increased default rates.
Doctor, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for spending so much time with us today. Best of luck to you. We'll talk to you soon. Jörg Zeuner. Dr.
Thank
Jörg
you for
Zeuner,
having me.
VP Bank of Liechtenstein. Beautiful country.